this week we have the great pleasure of meeting Adrian Choo, who is the Career Strategist. We've known Adrian for some time now. We have a lot in common in terms of the work we do, and we also have some contrasts. And we thought it would be fun to sit down with Adrian, who's based in Singapore and who does work across the world, but out of Singapore. He's a thinker, he's a writer, he's a coach, he's an actor in the sense of he's active in the career-changing community. He had an extraordinary career with one of the world's leading outplacement firms for a long time. But a couple of years ago, he broke away from that and set up his own enterprise, in which he told me a couple of years ago, over a coffee just before he set up, that he was aiming for world domination. So it'll be interesting to see how the 2 years in between the two have ensued. But Adrian, thank you so much for joining us. It's really wonderful to be able to chat with you today. We're going to spend whatever time it takes, but somewhere between half an hour and an hour to explore what's been going on with you. I know that you've just launched another book, so why don't we start with that?
So thanks a lot, Claire. It's my absolute pleasure to be here. Yes, I'm based in Singapore and I'm one of Singapore's top coaches. I focus a lot on career strategy rather than just on a job search. And I've written a couple of books on this. One of the books is Career Crossroads, a book I wrote in 2015. So yes, you were mentioning earlier about the book we just launched. It's focused a lot on retrenchments and how companies should manage their retrenchment exercises in a more compassionate fashion. So we were looking around the market and we saw that a lot of companies were not behaving in a way they ought to be, which means they have to be compassionate and empathetic to the people they're letting go. So we went around and we decided to raise the awareness on how to execute a retrenchment exercise in a compassionate and fair manner. And that's where my partner and I, Zian, she and I, we went to the market and we did a lot of research and we came out with this book and it's been published. It was just launched last week. And interestingly, the demand has been great.
All right. So it's a challenging subject for a book, isn't it? Because we all know that this stuff is not being done well by companies. In fact, it's our considered opinion over here with Antoine that companies in general are not doing enough at any stage of career management for their people. They know they should. They know there is a war for talent, but they don't seem motivated enough to get this stuff right. They seem to accept that they'll get high turnover or unhappy endings or whatever it might be. So it's wonderful that you've written a book specifically targeted at making one aspect of this cycle better. What do you think companies are going to do in terms of reaction to your book and responding to your call to make it better?
Well, in Singapore, we are in a rather unique situation because unlike Europe or in the US, where there are very firm government regulations with regards to how you treat your exiting staff, in Singapore, there isn't. There are only mere guidelines. So some companies have been inclined to, I would say, misbehave in a way. And we hope to get the book out in the market so that people so that business owners and especially HR, they can come to understand what exactly good exit management practices should be. And what is most interesting is that it's actually a skill. It's an HR skill. And we are endeavoring to raise the standard in that particular area because our company, Career Agility International, we do a lot of outplacement in the region as well. So that's something we are very focused on, and we want to contribute back to the market by introducing these case studies of how things have gone right and how things have not gone quite right with the other companies who have exited the staff.
So you're sharing examples, you're sharing case studies of the good and the bad, and probably occasionally the ugly.
Yes.
And certainly that should at the very least help your individual clients to navigate those exits as elegantly as they can.
Yes.
And ultimately, it should help those companies that are willing to make a better effort to do that.
That's right.
Tell me a little bit about your current mix of clients. You work with individuals. You, I assume, work also with corporations. Tell me a little bit about the nature of the work you're doing these days.
Okay.
And perhaps tell me also about how that fits with what you were planning 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm. Well, the outplacement bit is just one aspect of the business where because we have the expertise and because we have the capacity and capability to execute on, and because a lot of my old clients are calling us up as is one of the things we do really, really well. Uh, the core of our business is in career dynamics, and what we call this career dynamics is the field of career managing your careers. We tend not to call ourselves career coaches. If you look at my profile on LinkedIn, it's not Adrian Choo, the career coach, but Adrian Choo, the career strategist. Mm-hmm. We distinguish ourselves from career coaches because a lot of career coaches focus mostly on getting you the job. But our approach is that, if you're not happy with your career, if you're not happy with your job, landing another job may not solve your problem. In fact, it could exacerbate your problem and put you into a deeper spiral. So what we do is we work with a lot of senior managers, and one particular demographic group which we work very closely with, whom we call crossroaders. And these crossroaders are typically in their mid-30s to mid-late 40s, who have done particularly well in their industry, but they are looking at, what do I do next? So when you're at a crossroad, you need to have certain strategies to deploy. So we work with crossroaders with regards to developing their career strategies. How do you, what's good to you? Because a lot of times when we talk to clients and they say, I want a better job. But when you ask them what is a better job, and they can't articulate it, because to them, a better job could be more money, could be bigger titles, but it may not bring the happiness or satisfaction which they want. So we sit down with our clients and we analyze and we teach them how to develop their own strategy to ensure the sustainability of their careers until the day they want to stop working and they want to retire. So that's our general market we are approaching. In Singapore, we are seeing a lot of traction in this space, and we are growing very fast because in order to do the career strategy coaching, you require a very particular set of skills. And our coaches over here, they've all been trained, and they all been trained in the dark arts of headhunting for many, many years as well. So that helps a lot with regards to giving advice on strategy formulation in terms of pivoting or even making mid-career switches.
Excellent. So I'm thinking, one of the things I'm wondering is, do you consider yourself to be a good example to your clients? You made an extremely large change yourself. You went from the comforts of a large corporation into your own enterprise. Tell me a little bit about your own transition and how you managed that.
Very interesting that you brought it up, because I've always believed in being career agile, and hence the company's name is Career Agility. Mm-hmm. If you look at my career history on LinkedIn, you will see that I started out in Shell. I was in GE Plastics, and my first career crossroads was in 2003 when I decided to go into headhunting, and it was a major move for me because I left the comfort of a stable job to move into headhunting, which was something entirely new to me. But what was scary at the time to me, which was getting into a new industry and a new field. When I look back, it wasn't that scary, because when you're in your early 30s, when you do a career switch, it's not much risk involved, right? So I did very well in that space. But in 2012, at the height of my career in headhunting, I saw a trend that was worrying me a lot, and that trend was LinkedIn. And I could see that in 8 years' time, LinkedIn would disintermediate and disrupt the entire headhunting industry. And that was when I decided, okay, Adrian, it's time for you to pivot into something else, but what is something else? So I had to revamp my entire career strategy, look at where the market was heading, and I decided to move into career coaching, because I saw that by 2020, the market would be so volatile, it would be difficult for many people to navigate their own careers. So I saw a market need there, and I did the necessary homework, and I did the necessary strategy to pivot over into headhunting. And in 2015, I actually left headhunting to join an outplacement company, and I literally took a pay cut to get in. And the reason why I joined that company was to learn the ropes in a new industry. But I was in the company for about 3 years, and I decided, no, it's corporate life isn't quite for me. I am tired of being at the whim and at the mercy of a big corporation, where every quarter, the moment a new CEO comes in, they decide to X or downsize, they would effectively just cut costs and fire you. So I did not like the career insecurity of being in a big organization. And that's where I left early last year to start my own career consulting business, which is where I am now, along with my other business partner. And we've expanded greatly. But to your point about my career story being an encouragement to many others, yes, and I continue to evolve as well, because there are just so many disruptions in the market. You really need to look two or three jobs down the road, and you have to figure out who's out there to steal your lunch, what are the threats out there, and what are the opportunities that are yet to be explored. So you have to be very agile in this manner. And as I said, that's where our company, Career Agility, gets its name from.
Indeed. I love this concept of agility that you have. I mean, we talk about it, we're using slightly different language, but we're very much aligned on this.
Yes.
One of the things I'm wondering about is how you do your research. I mean, we find, of course, that we talk to our own clients, whether they're individuals or corporations. We get a picture and a sense in that way of what's going on. Of course, we love talking to other people in this field like you through our podcasts and through our informal communication. But I'm wondering what else you do. Where do you find your sort of content-based research and your inspiration for thinking about the future and what might be coming?
A lot of my inspiration comes from shower thoughts. No, I'm just kidding. We speak to a lot of thought leaders in the market. We speak to CEOs, MDs, very senior folks. But a lot of it is we generate our own thought leadership. We challenge each other. My colleague and business partner, Yen, and I, we have very deep conversations about what exactly should a career strive for instance, and what is career happiness. And we get a bit philosophical about it. And once we get ideas, we put it together. In fact, even as we're talking now, even as we've just published the Exit Management Handbook, we're taking a short break right now, focusing on the after things that we need to do after the launch of the book. We are working on our next book already, and next book is about career agility, and it's quite a unique concept because it ties in with what we've been espousing, what we've been promoting in the market about career agility. So it's hopefully going to be launched in a second quarter of next year, and that will be quite fun because we're hoping to move the market with that one.
Excellent. That's wonderful.
Yeah.
And I'm imagining that your book sales spread further than Singapore. You're most known in Singapore, but I guess the region benefits from and buys your publications.
Yes. Interestingly, we even get clients who are in Europe calling me up and saying, "Hey, I downloaded your book. We love it." And it's really remarkable because I do have clients in the US and in Europe itself, whom I coach personally over Skype. But I tend to prefer clients who are in Europe because the time zones are a lot more amenable to me.
A little more forgiving, isn't it?
Yeah, a little bit more forgiving. It's when you have a 12-hour difference, there's only so much you can do. So it's either really early or really late. And my wife will always say, "Who are you talking to right now? It's 9 o'clock at night." So yeah.
And here we touch on on work-life balance, don't we?
Yes, correct.
I was intrigued by your comment about the deep philosophical conversations you have with Yen about career happiness. Um, did you come to an absolute conclusion on what career happiness is?
Yes, I have,
Tell me.
and it's and to me, it's a concept of understanding what you want in life. You
Mhm.
see, career happiness, career satisfaction. I wouldn't even say career happiness because you're never happy with your career all the time. The same way you're never quite happy with your spouse all the time either. Sometimes you like her, sometimes you don't like her, sometimes it's just the way it is. So we don't strive for career happiness. We strive for something more realistic, which we call career satisfaction.
Mhm.
And if you're generally satisfied and you are happy, then yeah, that's a good place to be. But you see, a lot of times we mistake career happiness or career satisfaction. Uh, See, different people have different drivers which make them happy. For instance, for some people it's money. For some people it's fame and fortune. For some people it's the big titles. And but for other people as well, it's not all that. Some people are just happy. They're just happy when they can knock off at 5 every day and go back home to their kids, like me.
Mhm.
So and my partner Yan as well. See, we are very focused on our families, and that makes us happy. So in order, so the thing is this: different people have different concepts of happiness, and what is really remarkable is that even for the same person, when you have when you're in a different stage of life, you also have different priorities. So when I was younger, it was all about fame, fortune, and money. Today,
Mhm.
it's not. Today, it's making a difference, leaving a huge impact, helping lives, helping people, and saving the world and getting home in time for dinner with my kids. So that makes me happy. So when at different stages of your life, you have different things that make you happy. Different people also have different things that make them happy. The big challenge lies, however, is when somebody or when a person doesn't realize this, and the person starts to think that, oh, society says that in order for me to be successful, I need to have a big car, I need to have a big house, I need to have a big salary, a big title. And they are working all so hard for it, but you know what? And they can achieve it, but then they're not happy because those aren't their career drivers, their real career
Mhm.
drivers. So that's why you see people who are successful but not happy. And a lot of times you will see them having bad marriages, bad health. But you know what? They say they're successful, but they're not. So, in
Yeah.
order to achieve that career happiness, you have to identify what are your own drivers. And once you identify the drivers, don't care about what the world tells you. You just go for it and drive. So if you're in your 50s or even if you're in your mid 40s and you decide, hey, it's time for me to downshift and I don't want to accept the next promotion. It's fine because it's you. Don't worry if everyone says, "Oh, Adrian is the guy is over the hill." No, oh, he's turned down. This is his second promotion. He's turned down. What's wrong with him? Nothing's
Mm.
wrong. I just want to be happy where I am. See,
Yeah.
so the secret to career happiness is understanding what makes you happy and not caring about what the rest of the world thinks, and doing and pursuing that relentlessly, but also having a strategy around ensuring that you are able to continue working for as long as you want to work. And in order to achieve that, you need to have a certain degree of agility to execute it, and you need to have that strategy, that roadmap to attain it. And that's the whole philosophy of our company, Career Agility. We work with our clients to make sure that all these aspects are easily understood, and how do you practice it in daily life.
Absolutely. That's wonderful. One of the things I'm wondering about is that you live in a relatively conformist society in Singapore and even in the region. It's probably fair to say that many of the cultures are more conformist, more structured by beliefs and values that tend to prioritize the societal view rather than the individual view. And I'm wondering, how do you encourage people to break away from that? Because I guess part of it is that they must be coming to you because they're thinking about breaking away from it. But how do you help people to balance that need in some respects to conform to societal views, but also the fundamental need to be happy and satisfied?
That's a good one. It's all about balance. So I think over here in Singapore, we are evolving and we are not so much focused on societal pressures much anymore. So you would have people who choose, you would have men who choose to be stay-home dads, increasingly so. You would have women who would be happy to take a year off sabbatical, just look after their kids and and slow down. And you have people who are at the prime of their careers, just stop, take a sabbatical, and just drop everything and just downshift. So we're starting to see a movement here. We generally tend to encourage, once again, not breaking tradition or not doing things just for shock value, but what exactly is your career strategy? And your career strategy has to sit on your life strategy. So we work with our clients as well to discuss what their life strategies are. And after they figure out what their life strategy is, then they can figure out what to do next. So for instance, we had this client, this lady, she's in her mid-40s, and she wants to accelerate her career. She says, I want to get up, I want to be on the next promotion, I want to get it. But she has two very young kids, and one of them has a learning disability. So she has to realize that unfortunately in the real world, you can't really have it all. So she had to understand that the balance between what's realistic, what's achievable. And so she came to a conclusion that my life strategy now is, okay, I'll stabilize things at home. And once they're stabilized, once things are under control, then maybe I'll do a more regional role or a bigger step. So what we always encourage is to look at your life strategy first before embarking on your career strategy.
That makes absolute sense, and it's encouraging to see that that societal pressures may be slackening a little bit in your part of the world.
I would love to be a stay-home dad if I could afford it. So.
Yeah, I know you're an extremely active and engaged father. It's lovely to see that. And I'm wondering, as you look for inspiration and ideas in what's going on, obviously you're most focused on your home market and your own region. But what do you look to Europe or the US for in terms of ideas and inspiration?
Well, I think that the US will continue to be a key driver in the economy because, especially with regards to Singapore, a lot of American companies are still based here. And with the focus now on whether or not the American companies want to uproot and go back home, that's something that's bothering a lot of people here as well. But we see them as very stable partners. It's going to grow in the region. I'm very bullish that the markets are good. I think there might be some hiccups from Brexit, should that ever happen, but they keep postponing the dates. So I don't think it'll ever happen. But when it does, there will be repercussions. But even within Asia itself, you're seeing disruptions. So like look at Hong Kong right now. It's a confusing place. You have students protesting, rioting actually, and they don't really know what they want, I guess. And it's scaring off a lot of investors. They are moving into a technical recession in this quarter, and it's going to be bad. And even though Singapore might benefit a little bit from chaos in Hong Kong, overall it's bad for business for everybody. So it's a dynamic situation that we're monitoring. But in general, I'm pretty bullish. Even though next year might be a tough year, I'm pretty bullish in the long run that Asia is still going to be the engine of growth, and it's going to be fueled by markets in Europe and America as well.
Absolutely. And let's not forget Africa, the rapidly upcoming continent, which I suspect half belongs to China at this stage.
I was about to say that.
There's some very interesting stuff going on in that area.
And I know I've seen the documentaries, I've seen the news reports. They speak Mandarin. There are people who speak Mandarin better than I do.
Apparently, that's not difficult.
Yes, it's a very low bar I'm setting, so it's okay.
All right. Adrian, what else would you like to tell us about? Anything that we haven't dug into that you feel is something that our listeners would enjoy hearing?
Well, I think that we need to look at our careers. See, there are 2 points there are mostly 2 points in your life as a career in your career that you probably would seek career advice from a coach. Unfortunately, the more common point is when you lose your job, and or if you're extremely unhappy in your job and you want to change jobs. To us, that's very remedial. In that, it's a medical analogy would be it's you're trying to fix a broken arm, and or even after a heart attack. What do? You put a quadruple bypass in.
Mm.
We want to focus. I think we all should be focusing on wellness rather than first aid or interventions.
Yes.
And in order to achieve that wellness, like what Alibaba's founder Jack Ma said, the best time to fix a roof is when it's not raining. So the best time to look at your career is when you're riding high on the crest, at the best of times, where you are in control, and you have the time and you have the resources to look at your career strategy, where you want to be, where you're going, what your gaps are. And the best time to look at it is when you're doing well in your business or in your work, rather than when you get hit by a truck. So I would advise our listeners out there to focus a lot more on career wellness, what we call your agility, your ability to respond quickly to changes in the market. Let me give you an example. I tend to ask this question of people when I meet them. They say, I'm very happy with my career and everything. And I ask them, okay, 2 scenarios. Number one, if a headhunter calls you up right now with your dream job, do you know what to tell him? Do you know what your positioning is? Do you know what you want? What is your dream job in the first place? And because if you can't, he's going to hang up the phone and he's going to go and talk to your colleague and give the dream job to him. The other question which we ask is, do you have a plan? What happens if tomorrow morning as you're coming into the office and as you're tapping your access card in, and it turns out that it doesn't get in. And it turns out that you're being retrenched. So if you're being retrenched tomorrow, do you know A, which company is going to hire you? B, which department in the company is going to hire you? C, who's in charge of the department is going to hire you? And D, does that guy in the department or the company that's going to hire you know who you are? Yeah. And until you have a very robust backup plan, then you have lots to work on. And to us, that is the level of preparedness you should have in today's volatile environment, rather than be complacent and say, no, they're not going to fire me, I'm going to be good here. So you have to have that high degree of agility. And that's what we're going to write about in our next book we're going to write on. Coming on next year. And hopefully that would be another thought-provoking book for everyone to enjoy as well.
Absolutely. And that absolutely aligns with our model of the 4 E's, in which you're always on a cycle of evaluation in some way. If you're not exploring, then you're experimenting. If you're not experimenting, you're engaging. And if you're not engaging, you're expanding. You're always somewhere there. You're always conscious. You're always aware and always taking action to be, as you say, ready, agile, whatever the language might be.
Yes.
And certainly we will look forward to that book coming out so that we can compare notes and make sure that more people in more parts of the world know about this kind of very important awareness and wellness, which is undoubtedly the future, given that everybody's career these days is longer, it's more unpredictable, and being in control of that in an optimal way is so important.
Right. In fact, Claire, one thing I would like to offer our listeners is we have developed an online career agility diagnostic tool, and her name is Carol. Carol is an acronym for Career Agility Review Online. Carol's in version 1 right now, and we are prepping her for version 2. But Carol is a tool which we developed in-house that where you answer about 50 questions in about 15 minutes, and you would get a comprehensive report on where your blind spots are, what are the areas of your career drivers that you're not happy with, and also in terms of whether or not you're at risk of being disrupted. So you can access it at our website at carol.careeragility.org.
Okay.
Yeah, I can put it up. You can put it up on the website or whatever it is.
We'll send a little link into it, I would think. Yes.
Yeah, lovely. Just let them go. It's free, so just have a go at it and have a look, because it's a useful tool which we use to begin our coaching conversations with our clients. So, but it's quite self-explanatory, so it's easy for your users to just go in, and if they have questions, you can always email us. We're happy to have conversations with them as well.
Fantastic. That's wonderful. So you are moving towards the era of AI with confidence and action. That's wonderful.
Yes, it's all digital, and because it's all about scalability, as you and I both know, as very experienced career coaches. There's only one of us, so we can't scale until we put a digital element in. So we're also putting in digital video training series. So we can reach you can use the platform to reach a wider audience, and you can change more lives that way. So we have to embrace technology and realize that, we need to scale up in all aspects.
Absolutely. Well, it's certainly part of world domination, that's for sure.
World domination.
Well, on that note, Adrian, I think it's probably about time to wrap up, with immense gratitude to you for having taken the time to share your particular pearls of wisdom. I'm looking forward to getting these ready to share with our listeners, and to making sure that we keep on talking, and that after the next book's out, we'll connect again and see how things have changed.
Yeah.
Of course, as always, the offer of collaboration, I know, goes both sides. So if we can help you from this side of the world, then we'll be absolutely delighted to do so.
Lovely. Yeah. And we can definitely work together, and lots of fun stuff happening. So let's stay tuned and see how else we can help each other.
Very much. Thank you so much, Adrian. Take care.
Thanks, Claire.
Bye-bye.
Bye.